Hey, what is up guys? I'm KBHD here. Happy New Year. And I'm excited for 2019 tech. And I tweeted that a little while ago. Some people were asking, what's so exciting about 2019? Why not 2018 tech? What's the big deal? But it just seems like there's a lot of stuff on the horizon that's highly anticipated, at least that I'm looking forward to a lot. So this video is all those things in one place. And who knows, maybe we can look back on this video in a couple months and see if any of these things or all of these things actually happen. So number one, that first thing is the Samsung Galaxy S10, both as a whole phone overall, and also specifically that punch out whole cut display. So I said in the smartphone awards that a lot of the most interesting designs and innovation that we saw in smartphones in 2018 came from trying to go full screen bezel-less and also avoid the notch. And that's where we got these crazy like mechanical things, the sliders and pop-ups and all that. And in 2019, I think there's gonna be a lot more of that. But Samsung has a lot of hype for their Galaxy S10 because it looks like they're basically going to be the one manufacturer that in their flagship devices has managed to keep the headphone jack and avoid the notch through 2018 and 2019. And the way they'll do it is with this punch-out display. So we've seen tons of renders now and concepts of what we're expecting, which is a single front-facing camera hole punch cutout for the Galaxy S10 and dual front-facing cameras for the Galaxy S10 Plus. And Samsung's talked about this on stage before. They call it the InfinityO Display. So I don't know if you want to call it that. I'll probably never say those words again. But it's really curious to me. I think it's actually not that dramatically different from a notch, just because the pixels around those cutouts are not really useful. It's not like you're putting like the time or your battery or some information up there. It's basically useless pixels up there still, but it looks visually different from a notch because it still lights up. So while it's technically still a notch, it's different. I don't know, it's kind of a genius play, and I think it's not only Samsung we're gonna see doing this, but there are others. There's already a Huawei phone that does it, and I think early in the year we're probably gonna see 3 or 4 other phones instantly start to do this. And I also kind of wish it was in the middle. Maybe I'm the only one. I think maybe if Samsung doesn't do it, someone else will. But the hole punch cutout, the thing that they're doing with the screen, I find that really interesting, and I hope to see some other versions of it. But generally, smartphone innovation on the way to the Galaxy S10 is really exciting. Which brings me to the number 2 thing I'm looking forward to, which is specifically the new iPhone. There's a bunch more reasons for that. Number one being, it's that TikTok sort of innovation style where this is a big upgrade year. We had 10, then we had 10S. Now we're gonna have 11, I guess. And iPhone 11 is pretty promising. And a lot of this for me is specifically because of how much I like the new iPad Pro. I think that was actually legit my favorite piece of tech introduced in 2018. I like it that much. So that has me with all these high hopes for the iPhone. So I'm not so secretly hoping that the new iPhone has that like really industrial, boxy sort of design. I'm also hoping that maybe this is the first year that we get 120 hertz display in the iPhone, just like we have in the iPad Pros. I am hoping that maybe we also get a USB Type-C port in the new iPhone. If they're willing to do it in the iPad, maybe they're willing to do it in the iPhone. I don't know. And then naturally we've come to expect high-end performance in iPhones. A lot of people don't know this, but the 1 terabyte iPad Pro has 6 gigs of RAM. Maybe we'll see a high-end terabyte iPhone 11 with the 6 gigs of... There's all these things that I see in the iPad Pro that I want in the iPhone. And I also realize I'm definitely setting myself up for major disappointment here because there's no way most of these things happen. But nevertheless, that's another phone I'm looking forward to. And then just all the other unique smartphone things that we're expecting to see. We just got those foldable smartphone announcements. I made a whole video about the possible applications of that. That could be cool. And just everyone else trying to find ways to differentiate themselves and maybe not have a notch. Maybe this next Pixel not having a notch will make me really happy too. And then the Mac Pro, the long overdue upgrade of this little trash can machine here that Apple promised that they were going to do. Now the weird thing that Apple keeps doing is before they upgrade something that's long overdue, just like this, they continue selling it for full price in the Apple Store. You should not buy this Mac Pro right now, but you can right now if you want to. But Apple, in a very rare fashion, because they never do this before a product is announced, but they've promised a full-size, real, modular desktop Mac Pro. And I am really excited for that. And this is mostly coming from the video editor maker side of me that, I've been using the iMac Pro for the better part of the last year, and it's been amazing. It's a, 18-core Xeon chip, 128 gigs of RAM. It's got a 4 terabyte SSD. Renders are fast, performance is excellent. It's amazing, but it's not a full-size desktop and it's not modular, and I can never upgrade it. And also, like, reaching around the back to the ports behind it, trying to plug stuff in is kind of a pain too, minor detail. But a new Tower Mac Pro, if they decide to make it that, but basically a full-size modular desktop, will let me try out different video cards, try out different internal parts, add internal parts, all these different things that you haven't been able to do with a desktop Mac in a very long time. Has me really excited. And there's also the small possibility of them also launching a monitor, like a pro monitor to go with it. I used to be, for the longest time, a dual monitor person. And I want to be a dual monitor person, but there's just no monitor that you can put next to an iMac Pro that looks right. It just doesn't seem to match up. So if they launch that new desktop Mac Pro, I will definitely be using dual monitors again, and maybe they'll make a monitor too. And then just generally, there's electric cars. That's sort of a big banner. That's not any one specific product, but I think starting at CES, that's next week. CES is next week. Wow. So starting at CES, there's going to be most likely a lot of electric cars, and sort of throughout the arc of the year, we'll start to see more and more manufacturers electrifying versions of their cars, maybe even their whole lineups. And that's kind of a big reason why I started the autofocus series, is so we can look into that and see if they're actually any good. Also this year, we're expecting to see Tesla Model Y. The announcement, the reveal, something like that, seeing what it's made of, the design. It's sort of the Tesla Model 3 of the SUV world, and that would also complete their S3 XY lineup for 2018. And they'll probably go through production hell again for that, but definitely worth it. And maybe they'll test drive Roadsters, maybe. Probably not, but maybe. But then last but not least is CES out there in Las Vegas next week, which is crazy. Basically, the best thing you guys can do is if you see articles or things that you're interested in that are at CES, I'll be out there, tweet them at me. I'll see if I can find them. I'll be out there with a camera so I can point the camera at it and see if it's actually worth its salt. There's going to be electric car stuff, gaming stuff, probably a lot of vaporware that'll never come to fruition, but still cool to look at just because that's the kind of tech that shows up at CES. But yeah, there's just a lot of stuff on the horizon worth looking forward to that should be exciting for 2019 tech. I was going to put 5G on this list, but I'm not as optimistic that that's a 2019 thing. Some manufacturers have committed to it, but I think that's a little further out. Also, I was going to say AirPower, but I think as many times as we joke about that, it's probably never going to come out ever. But let me know which of the things we talked about in this video you're most excited about. Again, for me personally, it's probably that new Mac Pro. Either way, thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.